Hello everyone, I'm 10 Types, and today I wanted to talk about Garchomp EX and the newly revealed Greninja EX, which will be coming in our next expansion called Twilight Masquerade, I believe. And I'm really excited for it. It looks really interesting, but I wanted to talk about how Garchomp EX and Greninja EX are related. I've heard some people talk about this a little bit, but I wanted to give it some more focus because I thought it was really cool. And I'm not talking about the fact that, in my opinion, they both have really cool full arts or illustration rares or whatever these cards are called. Although they do, I'm a big fan of both of these, especially the new Greninja. I think it looks really sick. But anyways, let's just hop right into it. And the most obvious, well, I guess I should say what they do first, for those of you who don't know. Garchomp EX is a Stage 2 EX. They both are. They're both Terra EXs as well, so they change type. Not all Terras change type, but they do have bench immunity, and these two do both change type. And then Garchomp EX here has its attack Hydrolander for 1 fighting energy, doing 160, and then attaching up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. And then the second attack here, Sonic Dive for 2 colors, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. It does 120 to one of your opponent's Pokemon, can be to the bench, can be to the active. It also is weak to lightning, no resistance, and surprisingly, and free retreat. Then moving over to Greninja EX here, we see that it has 310 HP. It is a fighting Pokemon, of course, a Stage 2 Terra EX, with water energy attacks. The first one for 1 water, Ninja Blade 170. Also keep in mind the attack names are just translations, so they may not be correct. But here, 170 for 1 water. You may search your deck for any 1 card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then duplicates Barrage for watercolorless colorless. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 to 2 your opponent's Pokemon, and you don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon in either case, which is pretty common. There are certain Pokemon that hit weakness on the bench, but it's rare. So this is obviously you can see some similarities right off the bat. First of all, as I said, they are both Stage 2 EX Terra Pokemon, and they actually switched types, which is really cool. Garchomp is traditionally a Pokemon that appears as a fighting Pokemon. I guess it appears as a dragon often, but always with fighting attacks, and certainly we've seen a decent chunk of fighting Garchomp. As I said, some dragon Garchomp use just fighting energy as well. And Dragon is obviously a type, but it's not like exactly a main type. So I'd say it's associated with a fighting type. And then here we also see that Greninja it's associated with the water type, right? So let's pull up some Greninja cards. I misspelled that. There we go. And these are mostly water. There are some darkness type Greninjas, but they're pretty rare, like Greninja Star, cool card, I guess. But yeah, reading Greninja, water Pokemon, Greninja Union, water Pokemon. A lot of these are water, more so than the Garchomps. But as you can see, they are switching types, which is really, really cool. And I think this is something that Pokemon has done very intentionally, because Garchomp and Greninja are 2 incredibly popular Pokemon from their respective regions. And I think, as I said, I just think it makes a lot of sense that they're doing it this way, because although it is really creative, it was not something I was predicting, but it's really cool because they are just really, I think they might be the most iconic Pokemon from their respective generations, which is just really exciting. I'm not entirely sure about Garchomp. Greninja definitely is. It's arguably the most popular Pokemon ever, I think. There's a poll, and I think it won. I could be wrong, but it's a really cool one. And Garchomp is really cool for Gen 4. I'm pretty sure Lucario was Gen 4, I think. That was pretty popular. But anyway, I'm not super in the know of all the Pokemon stuff for like the video games and general Pokemon. I'm obviously more of a TCG player. So let's just get to the stats here as well. Obviously, this first attack here does 160 for 1 energy of the type, and Greninja does 170 for 1 energy of the type. The second attack does 120 snipe for 2 colorless. And this other attack does 120 snipe twice for 2 colorless plus another energy. So the Greninja EX's second attack here is a little bit more powerful, but it is a bit more expensive, but still very similar. In fact, Greninja EX's attack is actually essentially the same as Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max's second attack, but I don't think that was intentional. It could be, but I don't think so. So Garchomp here, obviously the 160 versus 170 is very similar amounts of damage. They have slightly different retreat costs, slightly different HP, slightly different attack outputs on the first attack, but still similar enough that I think it's intentional. They're not just literally the same cards, but they're pretty similar. And the second attacks obviously differentiate, with Greninja being more powerful, and I think thematically it makes sense for Greninja to have an attack like this, as we have seen Radiant Greninja versus Garchomp. I'm not sure if it makes quite as much sense, but we certainly have seen Snipe attack. I guess we've seen a few. So this Garchomp V has a Snipe attack. This Garchomp, which was printed twice, has a Snipe attack. Guillotine and Garchomp also has a Snipe attack, which is very similar. So yeah, we just often see Garchomp having Snipe attacks that snipe once versus Greninja. We've seen obviously Radiant Greninja, which snipes two places. And then we see Pokemon like Greninja V Union. Is it this piece, I think? Yeah, which just does a bunch of damage to a bunch of different places. I don't know what this Greninja is, not this one. But then we see cards like this that do 50 to 2 your opponent's Pokemon. So it's thematically fitting for Greninja to hit 2 Pokemon, Garchomp to hit 1. And I think that's really cool. Going on to the first attacks, I'm not entirely sure why they are what they are based on theming from the Pokemon, but Greninja searches for one card, any one card, which is really interesting, and then Garchomp accelerates a bunch of energy. Going back to those Garchomps, I guess I'll go to Greninja. I clicked the wrong button. We haven't seen much search from Greninja. There was a Frogadier, which I guess searched, but, it's not a Greninja, and it searched for other Frogadiers, and then going to Garchomp, we see that energy acceleration just isn't much of a thing with this. We have seen this one, which has some energy acceleration, which might be similar in inspiration to the current Garchomp, but I'm not entirely sure. But Radiant Greninja does draw cards as well, so there's some consistent theming on the first attacks throughout the Pokemon's history, but I'm not sure. I'm more convinced in the second attacks, which I think are much more thematically important. And then, of course, the fact that these two are swapped roles. I wonder if we're going to see this with other Pokemon. I'm going to actually pull up the list of Terras. I probably should have done this before the video started, but I didn't. Okay, so I couldn't find it. Apparently, I guess I can just do Ancient Trait in EX. It's not actually an Ancient Trait, but I think this will show what I want, which it did. So looking here at the stage 2 EXs, which I think are the most likely, and the iconic EXs, we do see Mewtwo, which is lightning. We could see a Pikachu EX. I think we have seen a Pikachu EX. Yeah, we have, but it's not Terra. So I do think we could see a Psychic Pikachu EX, which would be kind of cool. And then we could also see Charizard Darkness type. What's an iconic Darkness Pokemon? I mean, Greninja, I guess, but I'm not entirely sure what the iconic Darkness Stage 2s are. I can't. Oh, maybe Tyranitar, but that did not happen. Tyranitar is essentially portrayed as a fighting Pokemon with lightning energy. So same thing with Tyranitar. You could see Tyranitar swapped with some lightning Stage 2, although I'm not sure what that would be. But overall, I think we will potentially see this with some other Pokemon. It could be a one-time thing with just Garchomp and Greninja, but I do think it was definitely intentional. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts down below. If you think this was intentional, then let me know. And if you think it wasn't and they just happened to do it in this way, tell me that down below as well. One thing I will point out, Greninja is weak to Psychic versus Garchomps. Okay, there we go. Garchomps are traditionally weak to grass, so there is that thing, but in terms of actual typing, it's the same. So I think it is intentional, and if we look at, I guess there have been Terra fighting that have been weak to grass, then Terra fighting that have been weak to Psychic, so they could have done it weak to grass, but I don't think that's a big deal. I think they did it that way. I think what they did was very intentional, obviously. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, comment down below your thoughts, like the video, subscribe. If you didn't like it, feel free to dislike it, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.